All right, so there's been a lot of literature and a lot of surveys, a lot of research about the types of body types that men like. So I'm going to present to you the research in a form of a video so that you guys can understand that there is actually an evolutionary wiring why men like certain body types versus others. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what's culturally based and what's actually driven by evolution. Okay, I made this video yesterday, but I was like, "Oh, I gotta make it again because I forgot some topics that I really want to bring up. And speaking of which, we're having a seminar next weekend about social intelligence. You guys can purchase the tickets on the description down below. You guys can purchase the online tickets or come in person in New York City. Okay, it's gonna be a one-day type of seminar. Purchase it now. One closing the channel, and my new course, Nice Girl, is available to purchase right now. Okay, so first is first. To men, physical attractiveness is the most important thing in a woman. The most important thing. To women, a man with resources is most important. Now, physical attractiveness is most important in men, right? But to women, physical attractiveness in a man is only desirable. It's not important, but it's desirable. You know, it's not gonna hurt to look good. Okay? Now, why is that? Well, because to men, in the most fucked up way, men see women as like sex objects, and women see men as success objects. In other words, men see women as the ones that give birth. So obviously the guy's gonna focus a lot on her body and signs of fertility. And a woman sees a man as success objects and as protection, because once she has a kid, she needs to know that he has good genes and to know that he won't abandon her and that he will provide her resources. So as superficial as it might sound, gold diggers are actually one of the smartest types of evolutionary traits that women have. I don't blame gold diggers. I really don't. Because it's because of that mindset. Women need to think like that. If they didn't think like that, we wouldn't be here. Women, you get what I'm trying to say? Men judge that aspect of women, they hate it, but I understand it. It's only evolution, okay? So, and understand this, is that a man's preference for a beautiful woman, for physical attractiveness, has increased over the last 100 years. It has increased. Every year it increases. Superficiality increases. And also women's desire for high status men has also increased over the last 100 years. Now you could say maybe it's because the standard of living has increased also, right? But why is there a standard? You ask yourself. Now, because men who didn't have these standards that I'm about to tell you were lost in evolution. If a man didn't value good looking skin, if a man wasn't repulsed by lesions and pimples, right? If a man wasn't repulsed by a woman being too skinny or way too fat, right? Like a 300-pound gorilla, right? If a man wasn't, if men were only attracted to women who were old, those men were lost in evolution because they weren't attracted to women who were fertile, essentially, right? So the beauty standard is all to see whether or not you're fertile or not, right? It's an unconscious way of seeing whether or not you can have a kid, right? That's why men like good skin, because it's a sign of youth. Youth is a sign of fertility, right? Babies, even babies, a lot of people say that the standard of beauty is because of society, partly, right? And we're going to talk about which parts that is. But even babies are wired to look more and play more with more attractive people, right? Who are young and symmetric. And also, if you have an attractive baby, most likely either the two parents are ugly as fuck, that sometimes happens, right? Or because the two parents are really good looking, and so that baby will actually have a more advantage in life because he's a good looking motherfucker, right? So babies are literally attracted to people who have symmetry, which is a sign of good health, good genes, high immune system, and youth. Because when you're young, you're more symmetric. As you get older, you become less symmetric, and babies are more attracted, or rather play with younger people. Okay, so with you ladies, what you got to focus on is just staying fit, lean, and eating good. But that's for a whole nother topic, right? Bad symmetry is a sign of bad genes and possible disease in old age, like I said. Now, the next thing that men value, we're going to talk about the one thing that men value the most, right? But we're going to go in order. It's age, okay? Age. Age is pretty much the most common sign of fertility. Fertility in a woman declines after age 25. Men are literally wired to prefer younger women, even though it varies from culture to culture, right? Like in Iran, no, no, like what is it? Yeah, I was gonna say something else, right? For example, young teenagers, like a 15-year-old boys are not attracted to 15-year-old girls for the most part. They're usually attracted to 17 and 18-year-old girls. Why? Because usually a woman is prime fertile at 18, right? Coincidentally, that is actually the age of consent. Right now, some cultures are different. In France, you have the lowest one. France has the lowest age of men liking women's age, right? Right. But it's funny because guys who are 25 prefer women who are 19 also. So what's going on here? It's not that young guys are just attracted to older women and that 25-year-olds are attracted to 19-year-olds. No, but that men are just wired to be attracted to a woman's physical fertile prime. Like they're just attracted to prime fertility. And so that's why the 15-year-old is attracted to the 18-year-old and the 5-year-old is attracted to the 19-year-old, right? But it doesn't reciprocate. The 19-year-old girl is not attracted to the 15-year-old guy. It's actually she's attracted to the 25-year-old guy. Why? Because the 25-year-old guy has more resources for the most part. All right. So yeah. Men who remarry also usually remarry if a man gets divorced, God forbid, poor guy, right? If a guy gets divorced, what a horrible experience for that guy. The next wife he usually gets with is usually younger. Why? Because it's just guys prefer young women. It's as simple as that. Now, what is the body shape that guys are attracted to, right? Body shape, body preferences in men is usually based and linked to status, right? And in general, the preferences that guys have for women is also based on fertility, but also based on status, right? For example, rappers, don't you notice that rappers are into like women who have a lot of plastic surgery, like the whole big fake titties, big fake ass, right? Because to them, being with those women is a sign of status. So those women get those plastic surgeries because those kinds of rappers are into those types of women. I don't find them attractive, right? But a lot of these rappers prefer those types of women because it's linked to status. It shows that they have a lot of status. And so they're naturally attracted to that, right? It boosts their status. But also men prefer, now if you ask yourself what type of body, like the fatness, do men prefer? Do men prefer a fucking rail? Do men prefer a 300-pound gorilla, right? Or do men prefer an average shaped woman? Actually, studies show that men prefer an average shaped woman. Men don't like too fat, men don't like too skinny. Women, though, assume that guys like a super skinny girl. But the truth is that the truth is in the middle. Men prefer an average body because it's actually healthy. Preferences change also, but these changes also, like these preferences, is based on also changes over countries, right? Over the country's economy that you're in. So if you're in a poor country, you're naturally going to want a woman who's fatter, right? Why? Because it means it's status. It means she has the money to eat, literally. So those countries that are poor prefer women who are a little bit more curvy per se, right? Now, countries that are affluent, like in Europe, the men prefer skinnier women because being skinny is a sign of status, right? Because you're in shape. Being fat in a poor country is a sign of status because you have enough money to eat those food. So men are naturally going to be attracted to that, right? So these preferences change based on country. Preferences also change based on the type of culture you were raised in. So if you were raised in a white culture around white people, even if you're the blackest motherfucker on the planet and you were raised around white people, you are going to like white girls. It's that simple. But if you were a white girl raised around black men, you're naturally going to be attracted to black men. It's that simple, right? You're not just going to be attracted to black men. If you're an Asian girl and you were raised in an Asian area, you're going to be attracted to Asian guys. But if you're that same Asian girl raised around white people, that Asian girl is going to be attracted to Bob the Builder, right? So it's based on the culture that you live in, right? So in America, the most prominent race is white people. And so it makes sense that actually in Tinder, White women are the ones that guys swipe the most on, and white guys are the ones that women swipe the most on. Technically I'm black. To black people call me black. I know, even though I'm a nigga, I'm Dominican, but you're black. The dude, okay? Like, it's different, okay? Like, don't miss, you want me to be respectful of your gender, name, be respectful of what we want to call ourselves. We're Dominicans, okay? We are our own people. Black is African American, okay? But anyways, that's a whole nother day. So it's based on the culture you live in, right? So in Dominican Republic, the rich people are white. So the Dominicans are naturally attracted to white women because it's a sign of status. If you live in a country where the white people are the poor ones and the black people are the rich one, you're gonna notice that those countries, those people are gonna have a preference for black people. Now, it happens in this country where a lot of the highest status men are black guys, right? Rappers, NBA players, right? And so women are actually turning around and liking black motherfuckers, right? Niggas like me, right? Like mulatto looking motherfuckers. So you're seeing a change in that culture where now the most powerful men are black, and I believe, I don't know what the research says, but in my opinion, you'll notice that there's a trend going up with women where white women are into black men a lot more because now they're a sign of status, right? When you see a white girl with a big black guy, you're gonna say, "Who is he?" Like, seriously, like, okay, maybe not, maybe not, right? So yeah, that's one thing, right? It's based on the culture that you live in, right? And you also notice that if the United States becomes in a poor country, women are more attracted to masculine men, right? Why? Because poor countries are more dangerous, and masculine men are more protective of their women, and also they're more attracted to physically masculine looking guys, right? In a poor country. But in a rich country, women are more into skinnier guys. Women are more into guys that are more feminine because it's not a dangerous country. Women feel secure. And so women actually prefer, once their needs are met, they like the feminine guy. But in a poor country where they feel scared and they need protection, they're not going to be attracted to the feminine dude. They're going to be attracted to the super masculine guy who could even potentially be toxic. Why? Because they're in a dangerous environment and they need protection. And so women get with certain guys for the sake of protection in dangerous countries, right? So that's one thing. So now let's talk about the boobs, right? What types of boobs do men prefer? One, men on average, 41% of men they interviewed like 250 men. I forgot where it was, but 41% preferred double D's. Father Alex prefers double D's as well, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you noticed, but I prefer double D's. But also, the type of women you prefer also it depends on your mom, right? The type of women that men prefer. If the mom looked a certain way, I could promise you the girlfriends that guy's gonna have are gonna be very similar to the mom. It's kind of interesting, right? So that's one thing. But men prefer larger breasts for the most part, because larger breasts are linked to higher estrogen levels in women and indicates higher fertility. But also, it turns out that larger breasts become less firm with time, which indicates less fertility. So larger breasts are super high demand, but they quickly lose it because those are the first ones to get a little bit more saggy, which indicates to men a loss of fertility. Unlike perkier boobs or smaller boobs, they stay firm over time. So they even shows that guys actually prefer smaller boobs, not because they like smaller boobs, but because over time, long term, smaller boobs appear more fertile per se. Yeah, the scientists found that individual preferences for breast size were variable, but the majority of raters preferred medium-sized boobs, followed by large-sized breasts, or titties, right? But most importantly, firmness over time, right? They prefer firmness over time. Shape of boobs matter more. More firm equals more fertile, right? So it's not just big boobs. Big boobs are great, don't get me wrong. Like, they like big boobs more, but over time, they prefer firmer boobs. I like big titties. I don't give a fuck. So those are the preferences that guys have for boobs, for body types, right? Um, yeah. Let me see if I missed anything. And that's why some women get Botox, some women get surgery for their boobs to make it more firm because it actually works. It actually works, right? Having a and the thing is that guys are attracted to it. A big reason why guys are attracted to also attractive women is because it being with an attractive woman obviously gets you more attractive women, and also it's linked to status. An attractive woman will raise the status of a man. An attractive man will only slightly raise the status of a woman, right? But an unattractive woman will actually lower the status of a man, um, which is kind of funny, right? But yeah, that's how things work, unfortunately, man. Look, man, it's like evolution is not your friend. Evolution is not woke. Evolution is not politically correct. Evolution is just straight to the fucking point. It's all about survival. When we talk about these types of subjects, it can be very triggering because some of us don't fall in that line. I'm 5'9", right? I would, I don't fall under under having good genes in terms of like being tall and stuff like that. But as a man, you can make up for it in other areas, right? But it's so I also have to bear the brunt of evolution of not being tall, right? But for women, it's a little bit more difficult, unfortunately, because over time, men have become more superficial because of the society that we live in is more visual. You see things more. And so women feel that pressure, a lot more pressure to be more good looking than before. Primarily because, one, we have become less conservative. So now we see women's body more. And so men are more exposed to physical bodies. So they demand more from women because back then, just a knee, looking at a woman's knee, turned you on. Now you want to see more. So men have a higher tolerance for better looks. So now what was a 10 before, now it's like a 7. You see what I'm saying? Now, the last thing that I need to include is the most universal, most attractive part. I mean, the most universal body type that men like, the one part that doesn't change. Preferences doesn't change across culture, across time in general, and that's a good hip to waist ratio. A good hip to waist ratio is the most important thing when it comes to having a kid. If you're too narrow, the baby won't be able to go through because babies have big fucking heads, right? So men are literally wired to be attracted to women who have large hips. Why? Because it means she's more fertile. She can have more kids. She won't die in childbirth, right? You could potentially die if your body is not equipped to have a kid, essentially. And if you're too narrow, you won't have it. And they surveyed this. They had surveys across all cultures and universally. Above everything that I've talked to you, the hip to waist ratio is pretty much a type that all men like. Particularly if it's the hourglass figure. And the thing is this, is that you ladies can keep this and can maintain a decent hip to waist ratio by just eating right, working out from time to time, and just living a healthier lifestyle. This is something that you guys can achieve. Almost most women, if you start early enough or if you work hard enough, right? Because it doesn't change. You could work on having nice hips also. You could literally work it out. And the glimmer of hope for everybody is that as you ladies get older, you go into a different phase in life where it's not based on your looks, but based on your emotional stability and based on your personality. As long as you practice meditation, practice yoga, stay limber, stay fit, work on maintaining your mobility, literally your mobility. You're gonna find a guy that likes you as you get older because the mature men, as they get older, begin to look for partners, begin to look for a companionship, and it transcends looks. It's more of like a life partner, and some of you guys can find it. Just have patience and keep yourself in shape. That's all you have to do. But to say that this is not even culturally. This is literally wired. It's wired. The men that didn't prefer women with a good hip to waist ratio were erased from evolution because they chose the women that couldn't have the kids right. You get what I'm saying? So the woman could potentially die while giving birth, or the baby, or both of them die from complications, right? So it makes sense that the guys that passed on their genes preferred women with good hip to waist ratio. It is what it is. Because a lot of women died back then, right? And they didn't have kids. And so the only women that actually were able to pass on their genes were the ones with good hip to waist ratio. And the men that actually passed on their genes were the ones that picked the women with the best hip to waist ratio. So that's why that's something that's so wired within us outside of wanting young people who are more fertile, young, and stuff like that. That's also like the second one, most important one. So it's getting to this point of singularity where I don't know what the hell is gonna happen after this, man. But it's becoming more superficial. I don't know, and I don't know how that's gonna affect women. It's gonna be very interesting. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Check out my online course, The Psychological Game of Attractions for Single Women. Nice girl, and come to that seminar next week where I'm closing the channel, people. Okay, don't play with me. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I want you guys to check out my new course called Nice Girl. It's available for purchase right now. Okay, this course I specifically made for women who consider themselves nice, for women who are too forgiving, for women who let other people guilt trip them easily, for women who always give people the benefit of the doubt but always end up getting played. This course will teach you about people's actual manipulations, about the strategies that people use to extort from you, to take from you without you getting anything in return. Because nice people are in abundance in the world. And nice people, unfortunately, if they allow their nature to guide their lives, they will become bitter because they'll end up seeing that their niceness never leads to anything. So the goal of being a nice person is to get people to like you. But sometimes that has actual backward effects. Like it actually creates what you're trying to avoid. So this course will teach nice girls how to get what they want through being more assertive, how to express themselves, how to not get played, how to identify manipulation, how to reverse manipulation. So if you're somebody who's always had that consistently in their lives, who are always people pleaser, who are always being passive aggressive, this course will teach you how to communicate all of those things that you want to communicate with people without getting played. Okay, I'll teach you how to be more assertive. I'll teach you how to identify disrespect, because when you're a nice person, you have a hard time understanding when people are being disrespectful because you're seeing the world through insecurity. You want to be liked, and so when somebody doesn't like you, you sort of twist it around in a weird way. So I show you how to see disrespect. I show you how to stand up for yourself. I show you how to deter aggressors. I show you how to avoid sending signs of weakness, and how to send signs of strength, right? And I even show you a meditation on how to become more assertive. Check it out. It's a course that it's not a super long course because I made it that length for a reason. I don't want to overburden you with too much information. This is just straight to the point. If you watch this course, you will get the results. This is not a 5-hour course. Okay, this is like a 2.5-hour course. So I think it's 2 hours or something like that. And the reason why that is because it's straight to the point. Okay, so if you watch that course, do what the videos say. You will over time overcome your niceness. Okay, purchase it now. In the description down below, you'll see where it says purchase Nice Girl. It's only $99, and there's a 30-day money back guarantee. No questions asked. You'll get your money back. Okay, because if you don't get it back, I'm closing the channel. That's for sure. All right, so I'll see you guys inside, and I hope you guys enjoy that course.